Alright, forget everything you think you know about awkward family dinners. We're not here to talk about your uncle's questionable politics or a slightly overcooked turkey. This is a different league of chaos. We're talking about the moments that become legends, the stories whispered for generations, the incidents so absurd you'd think they were written for a sitcom. We've gathered 101 certified case studies of family gatherings going completely, beautifully, and hilariously off the rails. 1. For her first Christmas in the family, a mother-in-law gifted her new daughter-in-law a book titled How to Dress for Your Body Type. She smiled and said, "It's just a fun little guide." The room went still. The daughter-in-law just said, "Thanks," and stared into the void. 2. During a 4th of July barbecue, Uncle Jerry, after a few too many beers, decided in a moment of sheer culinary genius to deep fry an entire watermelon. The resulting explosion coated the entire backyard and 3 neighbors in a hot pink sticky mist. 3. For Christmas, a woman bought everyone in the family a DNA testing kit to trace their ancestry. The results revealed 0 human surprises, but did confirm with 98% certainty that their prized golden retriever was, in fact, the father of the neighbor's suspiciously fluffy poodle puppies. 4. Chaos wasn't on the Thanksgiving menu, but the family cat decided to add it. It managed to rip open a bag of espresso beans and ate a significant amount. For the next 8 hours, they were treated to the sight of a cat zooming around the house like a furry, 4-legged bolt of lightning. 5. An aunt, unfamiliar with potluck traditions, showed up to the family picnic with a full tray of ice. Just ice. When asked if there was more coming, she smiled and said, "Nope, but it'll keep your expectations cool." 6. The annual family board game night ended in a full-blown Monopoly rage quit. A cousin, upon landing on a hotel-laden boardwalk, stood up, screamed, "This is tyranny!" and flung the board like a frisbee. It sailed across the room and landed directly into the 3-tier anniversary cake. 7. A helpful 6-year-old nephew noticed his dad's laptop was dirty with fingerprints. He decided to give it a good, thorough wash in the kitchen sink with dish soap. Because, as he explained later, it's important to be clean. 8. The family's pet parrot got into the famous 7-layer dip before the Super Bowl party started. For the rest of the game, it sat on its perch, rocking back and forth and loudly squawking, "It's spicy, it's spicy," to every guest who walked by. 9. Grandpa wanted to show off his new high-speed mobility scooter in the driveway. He got his feet mixed up, hit the accelerator instead of the brake, and drove it directly through the closed garage door, coming to a perfect stop in the middle of the laundry room. He treated the garage door as more of a suggestion. 10. A family of devout meat-eaters was hosting their niece, a new and very vocal vegan, for the first time. To test her commitment, her uncle secretly swapped her expensive tofurkey with a carefully seasoned turkey-shaped meatloaf. They waited until after she had finished her second helping to reveal the truth. 11. A well-meaning uncle decided to cook rice for the family using a rice cooker for the first time. He forgot to add water. The entire kitchen filled with the smell of burnt plastic and regret. The rice, still crunchy, the shame, eternal. 12. A family decided to have a themed Christmas where everyone dressed up as a character from their favorite movie. A very sweet, very out-of-touch grandma showed up dressed head to toe as the shark from Jaws, complete with a cardboard fin and a bloody arm hanging out of her mouth. Honestly, I'd give her an award for that one. 13. A young boy was told that the family's new Roomba vacuum was a robot pet. He took his new responsibilities very seriously, and the family found him later that day carefully filling the robot's dustbin with dog food and water. 14. A guy proposed to his girlfriend in front of her entire family during Thanksgiving dinner. She said no. Not just no, but "Are you insane? No." And then calmly went back to eating her mashed potatoes. You can't buy that kind of awkward silence. 15. For Easter, a grandma hid a single hard-boiled egg among dozens of plastic candy-filled ones. It was forgotten. The family found it in July, by smell. 16. A teenager trying to get a dramatic, slow-motion video of the Thanksgiving turkey being carved dropped his phone directly into the gravy boat. Have you ever had to explain to your insurance company that your phone was tragically lost in a sea of gravy? 17. A family was playing charades. The prompt was the Great Depression. The dad, trying to act it out, just laid down on the floor, curled into a ball, and started quietly weeping. He won the round, but the vibe for the rest of the night was different. 18. The annual Christmas cookie bake-off took a dark turn when two sisters, locked in a bitter rivalry, started sabotaging each other. One replaced the sugar with salt, and the other added an entire bottle of green food coloring to the gingerbread dough. The cookies looked like something from a monster movie. 19. A dad, trying to be cool, set up a karaoke machine. His first song choice was Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot, which he performed with intense, unwavering eye contact directed solely at his new son-in-law. 20. During a game of Pictionary, a woman drew a picture of a stork delivering a baby. Her husband, confused, guessed, "Our mailman, Dave." Turns out she had been having an affair with Dave the mailman, and this was how he found out. In front of 30 family members. I think I would have just moved to another continent after that. 21. A family reunion was held at a park with a public swimming pool. Uncle Ron, a man of considerable size and body hair, did a cannonball so magnificent that he displaced enough water to completely empty the kids' wading pool next to it. 22. A little girl overheard her mom say the turkey was a little dry. She immediately ran to the table, grabbed her sippy cup, and started pouring apple juice all over the bird to help it feel better. 23. To get the perfect Christmas card photo, a dad put his toddler on the back of the family's extremely patient old dog. The dog then promptly stood up and walked out of the room with the child still on its back, completely ruining the shot but creating a far better memory. 24. A proud great-aunt brought her famous ambrosia salad, this time with a twist. She swapped the marshmallows for tiny pickled onions to keep it zesty. People took one bite, paused, and politely redirected their forks to literally anything else on the table. 25. The smoke alarm went off while the turkey was roasting. The dad, in a panic, grabbed the nearest liquid to douse the flames he thought he saw. It was a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew. The turkey ended up with a neon green sugary glaze that was described as surprisingly not terrible. 26. For his birthday, a cousin known for his road rage was gifted a book on anger management. It was from his aunt. He thanked her through clenched teeth, and everyone at the table pretended to be fascinated by their food. The passive aggression was so thick you could cut it with a turkey knife. 27. A well-intentioned mom tried to make cheese fondue for the first time. Lacking Gruyere, she confidently used a massive block of Velveeta and a can of beer. The family was then presented with a bubbling pot of hot, liquid gold plastic, complete with a plate of hot dog slices for dipping. I mean, what's your verdict? Would you dip a hot dog in that? Let me know. 28. The family dog, a kleptomaniac beagle, stole Grandpa's dentures right off the nightstand. It then spent the next hour proudly parading around the living room, greeting guests with a perfect, unnervingly human smile. 29. To make a simple holiday toast, a very tipsy uncle decided the dinner table wasn't just a place for food, but a stage. He climbed on top of it, knocking over 2 wine glasses, to deliver a slurred 10-minute epic poem about his fantasy football team's mediocre season. 30. A 5-year-old wanting to help Santa Claus decided the chimney needed to be less sticky. He took a whole tub of butter and greased the entire fireplace hearth from top to bottom. The cleanup reportedly took days, and the house smelled like a movie theater for a month. 31. A grandson was asked to set up his grandma's new digital photo frame. He dutifully uploaded her family photos, but also secretly synced it to his personal meme folder. The family was treated to a touching slideshow of their history, periodically interrupted by a picture of a cat crying in front of a salad. That kid is a legend. 32. A man proudly introduced his new girlfriend at a big family BBQ. Everyone was warm and welcoming, especially his cousin, who immediately hit it off with her over shared astrology memes. The rest of the day felt like watching someone get third-wheeled in their own relationship. 33. During the annual Thanksgiving flag football game, a dad, reliving his high school quarterback dreams, straight up tackled his son-in-law. Not a flagpole, a full-body send-him-flying tackle. Paramedics had to be called for a dislocated shoulder. Okay, real talk for the comments. Who's the villain in that story? 34. A health-conscious cousin brought a delicious, gluten-free, sugar-free, paleo-friendly carob brownie to the party. She set a piece on the floor for the family dog. The dog sniffed it, looked up at her with an expression of pure disgust, and walked away. 35. A family has a quirky tradition of playing Where's Waldo in their annual photo, with one person hiding in the background. This year, Uncle Barry chose to hide inside a large outdoor trash can. He was discovered when the city garbage truck arrived for an unscheduled pickup. 36. A great-uncle handed his teenage nephew a thick manila envelope on his birthday. Inside, a printed 20-page essay titled, "Why I'm the Best Role Model You'll Ever Have." It had footnotes and a signed headshot, frame included. 37. Identical twin brothers thought it would be a riot to switch places at Christmas dinner to fool their nearly blind grandma. Grandma was clueless, but the wife of twin A definitely noticed when her husband tried to kiss her and called her by the wrong name. 38. A father, attempting to make creme brulee for the first time, got a little too enthusiastic with the kitchen torch. He managed to set off the overhead fire sprinkler system, giving the entire family and their beautifully set dinner table an unexpected, very thorough shower. 39. A college student spent 20 minutes trying to explain what an NFT was to her 90-year-old grandfather, a lifelong cattle rancher. He listened intently, nodded, and then asked, "So, is it a new breed of bull?" Honestly, his guess makes more sense than the real thing. 40. At a somber memorial service for the family patriarch, the plan was to release a flock of beautiful white doves. The doves, sourced from a budget website, turned out to be city pigeons. Instead of soaring majestically into the sky, they made a beeline for the potato salad at the buffet and refused to leave. 41. The family gathered for a gender reveal party. The parents-to-be, in an elaborate setup, were supposed to cut a cake that would be either pink or blue inside. They cut it, and the baker had forgotten the food coloring entirely. It was just a normal vanilla cake. The suspense was incredible, followed by pure, confused silence. 42. At the family's holiday white elephant, the spending limit was $20. One uncle, known for flexing, brought a designer cologne set. The person who got it had contributed a gently used, slightly melted candle shaped like a frog. The trade-off sparked a family debate about fair market value. 43. An 8-year-old was tasked with saying grace before Thanksgiving dinner. He stood up, looked around the table at 25 relatives, and confidently said, "Rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub. Yay, God." And then he sat down. Honestly, most efficient prayer I've ever heard. 44. Grandpa started telling a story about that time in '72, but refused to wear his hearing aids. His grandson kept shouting back responses, and Grandpa assumed that meant more details, please. He told the same 30-second story 4 times, each round louder and more dramatic. 45. A family decided to create a time capsule to be opened in 20 years. The youngest cousin, aged 4, was asked to contribute something very important to him. When they buried it, no one realized he had snuck his dad's car keys into the box. They didn't figure it out until the next morning. 46. For a New Year's Eve party, a man bought a professional-grade fog machine to add atmosphere. He turned it on high, and within 3 minutes the entire first floor of the house was so thick with fog that people were getting lost on their way to the bathroom. The fire department eventually showed up thinking the house was on fire. 47. A great-aunt, who prided herself on her jam-making skills, gifted everyone a jar of her latest creation, Spicy Strawberry Surprise. The surprise, it turned out, was that she'd accidentally used habanero peppers instead of bell peppers. What would you even do with that? Let me know your most creative use for weapon-grade jam in the comments. 48. A dad, trying to carve the Christmas ham, used a brand new electric knife. He wasn't prepared for the power. The knife shot forward, skidded across the platter, flew off the table, and perfectly sliced the leg off a priceless antique chair. 49. During a family reunion talent show, a quiet, unassuming cousin announced he would be performing magic. For his grand finale, he attempted to make the family's small terrier disappear. The trick failed, but the dog was so terrified by the strange box that it bolted out the door and was missing for 3 hours. 50. A woman spent 2 days making an incredibly intricate, multi-layered Jell-O salad for a potluck. Her brother-in-law, arriving late and thinking it was a decorative centerpiece, stuck his entire hand into it, trying to grab what he thought was a plastic flower. The sound of a hand squelching through 6 layers of Jell-O is something you never forget. 51. During the annual family photo, everyone was finally in place when the toddler in the front row sneezed violently, right onto the lens. The resulting picture was a chaotic blur of stunned faces, one slimy child, and a golden retriever mid-sneeze of his own. A masterpiece, really. 52. A brother and sister were arguing about politics at dinner. It got so heated that their mother, in a moment of pure desperation, stood up, grabbed the bowl of mashed potatoes, and dumped it on her own head to get them to stop. It worked. The entire table just stared at her, stunned, as potatoes dripped down her face. 53. A guy's new smart speaker, which he had been showing off all day, misheard a command during a quiet moment in dinner. It suddenly blared at full volume, "Okay, playing WAP" by Cardi B. Grandpa nearly choked on his dinner roll. That's a tech fail for the ages. 54. A family was playing a friendly game of backyard baseball. An overzealous uncle hit a pop fly that went straight up and came straight down into the large bowl of potato salad, causing a geyser of mayonnaise and potatoes to erupt all over the picnic table. 55. A bride wanted a special dance with her father at her wedding reception. He, a man who had never danced a day in his life, decided to secretly choreograph a routine. His routine turned out to be the entire dance from Napoleon Dynamite. He performed it perfectly, with zero irony, in front of 200 bewildered guests. I'm not even sure what to say about that one. Pure genius or pure insanity? You decide. 56. A mom, trying to be festive for St. Patrick's Day, decided to put green food coloring in the mashed potatoes. She didn't realize it was the super concentrated gel kind. The potatoes came out looking like they were glowing with nuclear energy. No one dared to eat them, but they looked fantastic under a blacklight. 57. The family's Christmas gathering was interrupted by a loud crash from the kitchen. They rushed in to find that their cat had climbed the shelves, knocked over a 5-pound bag of flour, and was now sitting in the middle of the white cloud, looking like a tiny furry ghost. 58. A dad, attempting to light the barbecue with lighter fluid, used a little too much. When he threw the match in, a fireball erupted with a loud whoomp, singeing off both of his eyebrows completely. For the rest of the party, he looked permanently surprised. 59. At a baby shower, the guests were playing a game where they had to guess the flavor of different baby foods. One competitive aunt, so determined to win, ate an entire jar of pureed peas before realizing the spoon she was using had been licked by the family dog moments earlier. 60. A family was opening presents on Christmas morning when the lights suddenly flickered and went out. The dad went to check the breaker box, only to find that his son had unplugged the entire house to charge his new remote-controlled monster truck. You have to respect that kind of problem-solving. 61. A grandma insisted on making her famous, very boozy eggnog. A teetotaler uncle, not knowing the recipe, drank 3 large glasses in about 20 minutes. He was later found fast asleep in the bathtub, fully clothed and cuddling a decorative soap. 62. A woman brought her new boyfriend, a professional mime, to a chaotic family cookout. He stayed in character the entire time. At one point, Aunt Lisa tried to offer him a burger, and he silently mimed eating it for 2 full minutes. People thought he was either artistic or possessed. 63. A family decided to take a nice group photo on a pier. They set the camera's self-timer and everyone huddled together. Just as the photo snapped, a huge wave crashed over the side, drenching the entire family from head to toe. The resulting picture was a masterpiece of chaos. 64. To save time on Thanksgiving, a mom bought a pre-cooked deep-fried turkey. She just had to heat it up. What she didn't know was that the turkey was still frozen solid in the middle. The outside was scorching hot, but the inside was an icy rock. It was like a turkey hot pocket from hell. 65. A family's annual Easter egg hunt was legendary for its difficulty. This year, Uncle Dave got a little too clever and hid an egg inside the exhaust pipe of his car. He completely forgot about it until he started the car the next morning, launching a hard-boiled egg across the street like a cannonball. 66. A man was trying to impress his girlfriend's dad by helping carve the Thanksgiving turkey. He confidently made the first slice, and the entire turkey, which was apparently not balanced correctly, slid right off the platter, skidded across the table, and landed squarely in his girlfriend's lap. Smooth. Very smooth. 67. A young girl, having just learned about taxes in school, presented her father with a handwritten bill on Christmas morning. It was an invoice for 25% of cookie and milk consumption by Santa Claus. The kids going places, probably to the IRS. 68. At a large family potluck, two different aunts unknowingly brought the exact same secret family recipe, 7-layer dip. They ended up on opposite sides of the buffet table, staring each other down like gunslingers at high noon for the rest of the evening. The tension was more memorable than the dip itself. 69. A father thought it would be funny to replace the cream filling in a single Oreo with white toothpaste and mix it back into the pack. He then forgot which one it was. The prank ended with him, in front of everyone, biting into his own minty fresh creation and trying to play it cool. 70. A family reunion was held at a farm. A city-dwelling cousin, trying to befriend a goat, offered it a sip from his can of Coke. The goat, surprisingly, loved it. It then followed him around for the rest of the day, aggressively headbutting his legs every time it saw him without a can. You don't just give a goat a soda. You make a friend for life. Or an enemy. It's a fine line. 71. A grandpa, a notorious practical joker, gifted his grandson a huge, beautifully wrapped box for his birthday. The boy tore it open to find another, smaller wrapped box inside. This continued for 10 more boxes until he was left with a tiny box containing a single note that read, "I owe you one present. Love, Grandpa." 72. A family was playing a murder mystery dinner game where everyone had a role. The person assigned to be the victim was supposed to dramatically fake their death after the main course. He committed so hard to the role that he fell backward off his chair and accidentally pulled the entire tablecloth and all the desserts down with him. 73. A woman's brother-in-law, an aspiring DJ, was in charge of the music for the Christmas party. He thought it would be a sick drop to mix the sound of a blaring air horn into Silent Night. Grandma's pacemaker nearly flew out of her chest. 74. A dad decided to cook the Thanksgiving turkey on the outdoor grill to free up oven space. A rogue squirrel, clearly the boldest animal in the neighborhood, managed to climb onto the grill, steal an entire drumstick, and sprint up a tree with it. All they could do was watch. 75. A family decided that instead of buying gifts, everyone would make something by hand. A very earnest but not very artistic cousin presented his mother with a clay sculpture. No one could figure out if it was supposed to be a dog, a coffee mug, or a vaguely threatening lump. He just kept saying, "It's art." 76. During a heated game of backyard volleyball, a mom spiked the ball so hard it sailed over the fence and landed directly in the neighbor's open convertible. The neighbor, a man they all disliked, then drove off, completely unaware that he had a volleyball in his passenger seat. They never saw it again. 77. A great-uncle fell asleep in his armchair after a massive Thanksgiving meal. The kids decided it would be hilarious to quietly cover him from head to toe in holiday bows and gift-wrapping ribbons. He woke up 2 hours later looking like a discarded Christmas present and had no idea why everyone was laughing. 78. A family was having a nice, calm dinner on the patio. Everything was perfect until a flock of seagulls, drawn by the food, descended like something out of an Alfred Hitchcock movie. One particularly brave bird swooped down and stole an entire steak right off the dad's plate. Seriously, how do you even recover from that? 79. For her 21st birthday, a girl's parents got her a cake with a photo of her baby picture printed on it. Her drunk uncle, thinking it was just a regular picture, tried to peel it off to save it before she cut the cake, completely destroying the frosting and confusing himself in the process. 80. A very frugal grandma decided to recycle last year's Christmas wrapping paper Unfortunately, she forgot to remove the old gift tags. So, on Christmas morning, she handed her son a gift with a tag that read, "To my dearest husband, from your loving wife." Her husband had passed away 5 years earlier. The room went silent. 81. A guy was deep frying a turkey for the first time. He panicked when the oil started bubbling over and, in a moment of pure genius, threw a cup of water on it to cool it down. The resulting grease fire was small but spectacular and required a fire extinguisher, which then coated the entire turkey in white chemical foam. 82. A family tried to take a group photo using a drone. The person flying it, the teenage son, got a little too creative with the angles, flew it too close to a tree, and got it stuck 50 feet up in the air. The rest of the afternoon was spent throwing shoes at it. 83. Grandpa proudly unveiled his holiday punch at Christmas dinner. He wouldn't reveal the recipe. After much insistence, he finally admitted it was a mix of whatever juice boxes the grandkids left behind and the last few inches of soda bottles from the garage fridge. It was unique. 84. A toddler got a hold of a permanent marker while no one was looking. He didn't draw on the walls. No, that's too amateur. He decided to give the family's all-white, very fluffy Persian cat a full set of tiger stripes. 85. At a wedding reception, the bride's uncle, after a few too many celebratory drinks, requested the DJ play the chicken dance. He was the only person on the dance floor, but he performed all 4 minutes of it with intense, unwavering passion and commitment. You have to respect it, or be deeply concerned, maybe both. 86. A family reunion was being held at a rented lake house. The dad, trying to show off, attempted to skip a stone across the water. He wound up and threw with all his might, but his wedding ring flew off his finger and sailed into the lake instead. It was never seen again. 87. A great aunt, convinced that all technology was spying on her, spent the entire Christmas party talking to the family's Amazon Alexa device. She wasn't asking it to play music. She was trying to get it to confess that it worked for the CIA. 88. A mom decided to bake a beautiful 3-layer cake for her daughter's birthday. She left it on the kitchen counter to cool. The family's basset hound, a dog not known for its athletic ability, managed to climb onto a chair, then the table, and eat the entire top 2 layers, leaving only the sad, lonely bottom layer behind. 89. A family was playing the game Cards Against Humanity for the first time with their very prim and proper grandma. She didn't quite grasp the concept. On a round where the prompt was, "What's that smell?" she confidently played her card, Grandma's Secret. The whole table froze. 90. A dad, seeing the kids having fun on a slip-and-slide, announced, "That's how you do it," and took a running start. He hit the plastic sheet with such force that he slid the entire length, shot off the end, and skidded another 10 feet across the lawn, leaving 2 long green streaks on his white shirt. 91. A woman received a beautiful, expensive cashmere sweater from her mother-in-law for Christmas. Attached to it was a gift receipt, which she accidentally read. Taped to the back of the receipt was a small, handwritten note that said, "She'll probably hate this, but at least we can say we tried." 92. A family's power went out in the middle of their holiday dinner. They lit candles everywhere to see. The mood was actually quite nice and rustic until the family cat's tail brushed against a candle and briefly caught on fire. The cat, now a tiny 4-legged comet, streaked through the house, much to everyone's horror. The cat was fine, but the carpet had a new black streak. 93. A grandfather who had just discovered emojis decided to print out and frame his favorite one, the smiling poop emoji, and give it to his son as a housewarming gift. He presented it with a speech about how it represented good luck and healthy digestion. What do you even say to that? 94. A very competitive family was playing cornhole in the backyard. One uncle, frustrated by his poor performance, accused his brother of cheating. The argument escalated until they were throwing the beanbags at each other instead of at the board. The kids just sat on the porch eating popcorn and watching the show. 95. A new boyfriend was trying to make a good impression by bringing a fancy bottle of wine to dinner. As he was handing it to the host, he fumbled, and the bottle shattered on the kitchen floor. In a panic, he slipped on the puddle of wine and slid headfirst into the trash can. 96. A dad was setting up an elaborate Christmas light display synchronized to music. He spent a week on it. On the night of the big reveal for the family, he flipped the switch and every single light in the neighborhood block went out. He had overloaded the entire grid. 97. At Thanksgiving, everyone went around saying what they were thankful for. Little Timmy stood on his chair and declared, "I'm thankful for no more broccoli." His mom glared. His dad quietly gave him a fist bump under the table. That kid knows his priorities. 98. An aunt, famous for her terrible baking, brought a pie to the family barbecue. No one touched it for hours. Finally, her own husband, trying to be supportive, took a slice. After one bite, he quietly stood up, walked to the edge of the yard, and spit it into a bush. He thought no one saw him. Everyone saw him. 99. A family decided to take a funny Christmas photo where everyone was tangled up in Christmas lights. The dad tripped while they were getting into position, causing a domino effect that sent the entire family, including the grandma and the Christmas tree, toppling over in a giant heap. 100. A 9-year-old nephew was given the important job of filming his cousin's wedding ceremony. He did a fantastic job, capturing every moment. It wasn't until later that the family realized he had held the phone vertically the entire time. 101. And finally, a man was trying to get a stubborn lid off a jar of pickles to impress his family. He strained, he grunted, he turned red. Finally, with a mighty roar, he twisted so hard that the glass jar shattered in his hands, sending pickle juice and shards of glass everywhere. He stood there, defeated, holding just the lid. So there you have it. 101 reminders that family gatherings are the world's greatest source of unfiltered chaos. We've shown you our list, but I refuse to believe these are the only stories out there. Now it's your turn. We all have that one story we're waiting for the right moment to tell. The comments section is that moment. Give us the single most ridiculous, absurd, or hilarious thing that ever happened at your family gathering. Don't hold back. If this video made you feel even slightly better about your own family, hit that like button. And subscribe, because the well of human weirdness is bottomless.